I'm probably wondering how I got here, right? Wasn't difficult. It was extremely difficult. But check this out. We're going to take it back about a couple of years. Follow me. Intuition. Growing up in Baltimore City without a father figure and a mom, strung out on drugs for 24 years played a toll in my upbringing. At the age of 17, I was hired as a cook at Chuck E. Cheese Pizza. I worked weeks and weeks just to catch one check. It almost felt like an entire month. I had major plans to purchase my prom tickets and prom outfits. Once I returned home from work, my mom asked me for half of my check. I couldn't understand why she needed half of my money. When she had a boyfriend that got paid weekly for pork sausages at the time, now decent watkins. Once I told her no, she told me to get out. I can remember running upstairs with a bat in hand and telling her boyfriend, "My mom put me out because of you." I left the house in a tank top, cut off shorts. It had to be about 40 degrees that night. I went to a friend's house to relax and kind of calm down. I couldn't believe the woman I loved so much just turned her back on me. As the night came to a close, I decided to sneak back in my house through the basement window. That morning, my mom came down and said, "Motherfucker, didn't I tell you to get out my house?" I was looking so puzzled and confused, but I knew she meant business. She immediately called 911. And 2 officers, 1 lady and 1 man, came to escort me out the home. Knowing this was my last year of school, I made my mind up that I was going to finish despite being homeless. I wanted to be the first person to accomplish this in my immediate family. I can remember hearing my mom telling me to get the hell out. If you don't want to pay any bills, you can leave. I knew the drugs was getting to her because we didn't have any bills. We were on subsidized housing and we had food stamps. I felt like she wanted to use my money for drugs, and I wasn't going to contribute to that vice. 1 month later, I found myself living over West Baltimore and selling those same drugs my mom was taking. I had no other way to survive while I was trying to balance graduating. I figured if I'm going to be hustling, it can't be noticeable, so I can continue to do all the things I love to do, like dancing, acting, modeling, and even producing music. My intentions were not to be a drug dealer. It was to become a well-known person in the entertainment business. Staying busy doing the arts while hustling kept me under the radar. One day after school, I caught the bus around the way to meet up with one of the OGs in the neighborhood. The bus let me off right at Montgomery Mall, and I walked down to the house to meet the guys. I can remember it raining and being very cloudy outside that day. Once I approached the porch, I noticed it was 2 OGs I was meeting, not just 1. As we were talking, the OGs decided I wouldn't be going on the block today. They were sending me to the studio. But I wasn't going alone. One of the OGs was coming with me. I remember the OGs exchanging some money, and I assumed it was for the studio sessions we were headed to. We immediately walked to the corner to wave down a hat. Shortly after, a Honda Accord pulls over. There was an adult and 2 kids in the car. So we hopped in and we see that the driver is a relative of my OG. I can remember 92Q playing on the radio and the kids were fussing. So I sat in the back between them to keep them away from each other. My OG sat in the front seat, passenger side. Now we're headed south on Ricestown Road and it eventually turns into Pennsylvania Avenue. We continue to drive south towards Martin Luther King Boulevard. We get to Pennsylvania Dartford Street, about 5 cars from the light, and within a split second, gunshots. Pop, 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 pop. Everywhere. Gunshots. Everywhere. They break out. I can remember about 8 gunshots. Within a split second, my intuition guided me to maneuver everyone to safety. The driver of the car had been struck by a bullet and jumped out of the car while it was still in drive. I reached from the back seat to steer the car. I noticed it was going towards other vehicles, so I decided to jump out the car and attempt to gain control. I jumped out the car and ran the opposite way to catch my family.
I don't know, but if you
kind of feel like a Matrix situation, like Neo in the Matrix.
Exactly as I say.
But me, you know, man, I followed my intuition. I listened to my intuition, and I got myself out, man. You know what I'm saying? As you can see right here, Neo did not listen.